Much beyond the orbit of Pluto, in the icy, quiet expanse of the heliopause, where the sun's shielding force weakens and the great unknown of interstellar space starts, Voyager 1 pushed onward into the void. Launched in 1977, this unyielding spacecraft had become a ghost of Earth, journeying in silence through a domain no human-made thing had ever ventured into before. Despite its systems growing old and its energy source waning, Voyager 1 persisted, to chart the unknown and whisper back findings from the boundary of everything we can know. It was in this desolate void more than 15 billion miles from home that something remarkable occurred. In what initially seemed like a small aberration in the low-frequency plasma wave data, a kind of reading Voyager could still manage to send, an anomaly appeared. On the surface, it was ordinary. The spacecraft had already experienced strange things, plasma shocks of long-dead supernovae, chaotic interstellar wind, and faint echoes of distant cosmic activity. This anomaly, however, was other. It didn't disappear or act like sheer background noise. This time, the signal was rhythmic. There was structure, repetition, and coherence, things that did not usually appear in the chaotic waltz of deep space physics. The pattern was close to musical. It pulsed, then stopped, then pulsed once more, as if it were reacting to something. And soon, something more incredible became evident. The source of the signal was traveling. Not careening, not drifting, moving in a defined path. Voyager's sensors, though archaic by today's technology, remained operational. They couldn't photograph anything anymore, but they could scan the very fabric of space itself. Alterations in magnetic vectors. Minute shifts in particle density. Modulations in cosmic ray intensities. These murmurs from the depths narrated a tale that no telescope could ever tell. A vast structure had emerged. And it was moving against the currents of the universe. This was not a comet. It wasn't a rogue asteroid or a Kuiper Belt object made of ice. It wasn't orbiting anything. It wasn't even responding to gravitational forces. Instead, it was moving laterally, like the result of intent. That epiphany shocked astronomers tracking Voyager's weak, decades-long stream of signals. Space is empty, but it's lawful. All of what we see in the universe, planets, stars, nebulae, even rogue bodies, obeys the rules. Gravity governs all. But this thing wasn't following those rules. It speeded up. It floated. It stopped. And, most shocking of all, the thing responded to Voyager. Every time NASA's Deep Space Network tweaked Voyager's communication signals, small changes in frequency or power, the object would react. Magnetic fluctuations accompanied those times, as if the structure was watching the probe, or talking to it. The possibilities were mind-boggling. This was no longer a passive oddity. This was interactive. Astronomers and philosophers for centuries had been plagued by the Fermi paradox. How is it that in a galaxy teeming with billions of planets that could potentially support life, we have yet to hear any signals of intelligent life? And now, that silence, it seemed, had finally cracked. Perhaps it wasn't that the universe was silent, perhaps it was only waiting. And perhaps, we were finally seeing. What Voyager saw could not have been human. No satellite, vessel, or drone known to humankind had ever escaped the solar system, much less come to the heliopause with precision travel. The object was radiating its own electromagnetic signal. It wasn't just reflecting solar radiation, power was being produced. Its radiation varied in patterns that were too predictable to be natural and too strange to be random. As additional information filtered in, a theory started to form among shell-shocked astrophysicists. This object was a probe. But not ours. Maybe it was something like Voyager itself, an ambassador sent many years ago from a far-off civilization, drifting through the galaxy in search of others. The poetry was in the symmetry, two old machines, spawned of curiosity, at last coming together in the emptiness between stars. But whereas Voyager crept along dead batteries, this other ship glided smoothly and purposefully. It was not old wreckage. It was alive. And it might have been waiting. The heliopause, it turned out, was more than a boundary, it was a threshold. On one side lies our solar system and everything we've ever known. Beyond it lies the interstellar ocean. That Voyager would encounter this object at the threshold seemed more than chance. It suggested placement, purpose, monitoring. The object also had an extraordinary interaction with the heliospheric current sheet, the magnetic field produced by the sun that twists and warps as it escapes outward. This warped ballerina's skirt-like sheet normally flows unbroken through space. But this object warped it, twisting the magnetic field, then releasing it like testing it. That was no accident. That was an act of will. We have no such propulsion technology for such precise motion and magnetic control, not even in principle. There was no use of rocket bursts, ion propulsion, or sails. It traveled by power we cannot comprehend, probably tapping into exotic physics or energy fields theoretical in our own simulations. One theoretical guess was that the object was warping local spacetime curvature, maybe a magnetic warp technology. Others guessed that it was employing dark matter or dark energy gradients to steer itself. These were concepts that had once been the province of science fiction. But now, they were all we had. And then, there was the pulse. Between the routine telemetry signals, hidden within a generally uneventful transmission, came a return signal. It was weak, barely over the threshold of noise. But it existed. A periodic, symmetrical pulse. Not terrestrial. Not from any terrestrial satellite. It came from the object. It came 4 times, every burst evenly spaced. Then silence. It wasn't in a known language. It wasn't binary. It wasn't Morse code. But it had mathematical symmetry, too precise to be random. And after that single moment, silence. No repeat. No follow-up. Just that haunting rhythm echoing across the stars. Speculation ran wild. Had it been a greeting? A scan? A test? A warning? Or had it simply fulfilled its mission and gone away? No one knew. The signal was never picked up again. The object slowly moved Voyager's range, drifting quietly back into the galactic darkness. As suddenly as it had come, it was gone. But Voyager was not the same. It had been left a witness. Not only a probe sent from Earth, but a quiet witness to something momentous, a discovery that someday could redefine how we perceive our position in the universe. If there is just one probe from a single alien species out there, everything becomes different. It means that we are not alone, and maybe never were. On the planet Earth, the information never became mainstream in its entirety. The anomaly was quietly incorporated into scientific briefings and scholarly articles, whispered among the highest-ranking astrophysicists and SETI scientists. Government said nothing. After all, what do you say to the world when you don't know what just occurred? But inside the scientific world, the message was unmistakable. The silence of space had cracked. For millennia, man gazed up at the stars and dreamed of friends. We wrote tales, transmitted signals, and launched a gold record. And now, it appeared, something had heard us. Not in the form of words, but of movement. Of presence. Voyager had not dispatched a message, it had been responded to. The questions then are immense. Where did the object originate? How old was it? Had it been monitored yet? Had it been left here, parked at our solar border as some sort of cosmic tripwire? Was it alone? Or were there many? Sprinkled throughout the galaxy, silently observing young civilizations form? Even more chilling, did this object observe for much longer than Voyager had? Maybe our golden record we left behind was never needed. Maybe they already knew we existed. Voyager drifts alone again now. The anomaly is absent. Its radioactive energy wanes each year, and one day it will fall silent forever. But its legacy has altered. Voyager is no longer a relic of humanity's initial interstellar stride. It is now a page in a much larger tale, the moment when, at the tip of the sun's sigh, something gazed back. Perhaps the universe is not quiet, perhaps it has just been waiting for us to extend far enough, to listen hard enough. And when we at last did, something stirred in the shadows, and in that movement, we saw a reflection of our own desire, our own wonder. We sent a messenger. And perhaps, just perhaps, someone sent one back. If you enjoyed this story as much as we did, kindly give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for additional in-depth space mysteries and cosmic breakthroughs. What do you believe Voyager found at the edge of our solar system? Was it a probe? A ship? A remnant of something immensely older? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, keep looking up. The universe is watching.